go to the participant list. We're going to admit Nicole. And we're going to I see make host. I don't see make co-host. How do you
That's
make someone
odd.
co-host?
Usually co-host just pops up as a something. That's weird.
Meeting is being recorded.
I see, if I pop on your name.
There's not a co-host option.
There's not a co-host option. So
Okay. Well, best
I'm
laid
gonna start
plans.
my second monitor so I can have two screens going. But admit Ken Patton. Participant list over here. Oh, miracle of miracles. And now I'm going to read the script. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being audio-video recorded. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by open meeting law. Please address all comments to the chair. This meeting of the Conservation Commission is being held by Zoom at the link provided on this notice. The Zoom meeting ID is 302-003-9690. Phone callers may unmute by pressing *6. As always, I urge people to go to the town calendar, and on the town calendar you will find the agenda, and if you look at the agenda, it has a clickable link to our Zoom meeting code. I am Bob Pease. I am the vice chair. Mary Wilson resigned as chair at the last meeting in June. So we need to have a reorganization. Probably put that on the agenda first thing in the next meeting. So I'll be the acting chair tonight. We had originally on tonight's agenda 7 continued public hearings. We will not be opening any of those continued public hearings because no agenda was posted at the time that they were originally scheduled. And so therefore, those continued public hearings can only be absent such a notice, absent such an agenda posted on the town calendar and on the town clerk's bulletin board. They can only be rescheduled to the next regularly scheduled meeting, which is next Wednesday. So the 7 continued public hearings will not be held tonight. They will all be rescheduled to next Wednesday, which is the next regularly scheduled meeting, because this is a special meeting. It's not a regularly scheduled meeting. And I just admitted Susan Whalen. Are there any public comments by commissioners? I have one. I'd like to thank Mary for serving as chair under a very difficult year. The past year has been a very difficult year for the commission, given our lack of staff, and she served admirably and done a fabulous job, and I'd like to publicly thank her for that.
Thank you for that, Bob.
Are there any public comments from members of the public? Seeing none. Minutes of previous meetings. I believe we have two meeting minutes. One, May 15th, 2024. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry. Let's first have a roll call. Let's see who's here. Mary Wilson?
Here.
I'm here. Jenny Putherer?
Here.
Rich Birsch? Jeff Viviano?
Present.
Thank you, Jeff. Mike LaRouche? Chris St. Germain. So no Chris, no Mike, and no Rich. So, but we still have a quorum of 4 members.
Bob, just as a note, Chris did send me a text and let me know that he's trying to log on.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So we have a motion. We have a seconded. Roll call vote. Mary?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And I for myself. And I'm going to admit Jay Simeone. How about June 5th, 2024? Do we have a motion on the minutes for June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion second. I heard Jenny as the second. So roll call. Mary?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And I for myself. Then the next thing on the agenda is we have 2 appointments tonight. The first appointment is Lake Shirley Aquatic Management Pre-Treatment Survey Report and Treatment Plan. Who is here to speak for Lake Shirley?
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Joanna.
How are you?
Good. Actually, I'm still getting over COVID, and I want this to be a short meeting, so I urge you to be brief and succinct, both of you. You and Dominic.
Absolutely.
Not a
Dominic's
problem.
right here, and he's going to talk.
All
Not
right.
a problem. So we're here to present the 2024 treatment plan for Lake Shirley. Similar to past years, our biologists went out to do a survey on June 24th of the lake, and we went to all of the 66 data points that have been present in the lake since the beginning of the program. So we are recommending treatment of 58.7 acres of the lake, and that
Dominic, do you have a presentation? Would you be willing to share your screen?
absolutely. I have a copy of the plan. I can do that.
That would be appreciated.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Great. So again, we're recommending treatment of 58.7 acres of the lake, and that is based on the criteria in the lake management plan for Lake Shirley, and that's based on a data point that has either a biomass or a density of greater than 50%, a 3 or a 4 index number, the presence of a non-native species, which includes fanwort, curly leaf pondweed, variable water milfoil, and European or spiny naiad. So this year's survey, scroll down to the table here. Fanwort was the overall dominant species, unfortunately, in the lake. It was present at 56% of the points, dominant at 42% of those points. And I think this is a result of a number of years in a row of poor drawdown conditions. I think early on in the program, we were getting fairly good drawdown conditions at least once or twice every 3 years, a good freezing and drying of the sediment. The last few years, it's either been too warm, too rainy. The drawdown has not been very effective, and we've definitely seen a very noticeable increase in fanwort. The secondary species that was most abundant was leafy pondweed. potamogeton foliosus, which was present at 35% of the stations, and 17% dominant at 17% of the stations. Everything else was less than 10% of the data points, except for bladderwort, which was just above that at 12%. So again, based on the criteria in the lake management plan, what we did was plotted on the map here, and there's a lot of information we're trying to cram onto this map here, so it's a little busy. But basically, any point that had a greater than 3 or a 4 biomass or density index was marked with a red dot. Those that were less than that, and so did not qualify or meet the criteria for management, was our green points. Additionally, here we have large red squares for locations where we found milfoil. And just as a side note, we found three places with milfoil this year, and this is the first time in probably 8+ years where we've actually observed milfoil in the lake. So that's a little bit concerning. Not exactly sure what's going on there, but we did find a few plants in 4 different locations. The large red triangles are curly-leaf pondweed. And what we also did this year, we did treat a similar amount of treatment last year, but it was a very bad late summer for the lake last year. We had lots and lots of fanwort, lots of European naiad, lots of tape grass that wasn't really apparent or didn't meet management criteria in June for our July treatment, but became very prolific later in the summer. Big issues on the lake. So what we also did on this map is the yellow crosses are areas that met that management criteria of 3 or 4 biomass or density index during the fall survey that was conducted by aquatic restoration consultant Wendy Gendron. So we added those points here. So we basically covering the treatment areas where we met the management criteria. We came up with that 58.7 acres, and you can see those areas on the map here. The red hatched areas, the yellow hatched areas, and the blue areas are the treatment areas. The red is for diquat only, so that's either treating curly leaf, naiad, or milfoil. The diquat flume herbicide areas are those that have fanwort dominated areas. So there's, I believe, 4 of those 4 or 5 of areas with that. And then diquat copper is areas that had kind of the pondweeds, milfoil, also had a significant amount of tape grass. So the diquat copper would be used for that. This plan was passed on to Wendy Gendron from Aquatic Restoration Consulting. She asked us to, as we stated in the plan document, to check a few of the areas of the lake as we're treating to make sure that there's no coontail or Robbins pondweed in the treatment areas. Those are the 2 native species that we've identified as a high priority to try to get expanded growth in the lake. So none of the treatment areas currently cover areas where we found Robbins or pondweed or coontail during the June survey, but we will recheck some of the areas where we've seen it in the past to make sure on the day of treatment that there isn't some additional growth there. So in the interest of keeping this brief, I'll stop there. If the commissioners have any questions about the treatment plan, I'd happy to answer those. Otherwise, we are planning to conduct the treatment next week on the 17th. So I'll let folks have any comments or questions. Be happy to address those.
Questions or comments from Commissioner? Whoop. I just want to announce that Chris St. Germain, Commissioner, joined the meeting a few minutes ago, and that Mike LaRouche just joined the meeting. So we now have 6 commissioners. Questions or comments from commissioners?
I don't have any questions.
if can you scroll down just a little bit more so
Sure.
that we can see a little bit more of the bottom of the map?
Yep.
And can you scroll back up just a little bit so we see the more of the lake area, a little more. There you
Yeah,
go.
it's about as much
Okay,
as
so I notice up on the upper left-hand corner of the screen now, you got an area marked for Darquat, and it's got a
this one.
green dot in it. And it's my understanding that the red and green dots represent this year's survey.
Correct. So that is an area that we chose for treatment because it was an area that did exceed or did meet the management criteria in July and August, but hadn't met it in June when we prepared the plan. So we did not treat that area, but it was a problematic area later in the summer, July and August. So it does have that yellow cross on it with a plus sign there. So that's the reason why we designated that area for treatment based on late summer conditions last summer. So.
Thank you. Other questions or comments from commissioners?
I guess I do have one question,
Sure.
Mr. Chair. So with the treatment chemicals that you're using, those dissipate rapidly, or how long do they persist in the water before they dissipate and are not hazardous?
So the Diquat and the flumioxazin herbicide are generally dissipate within about 48 hours or so, give or take. So the restrictions that are going to be in place following the treatment is we do close the whole lake down on the day of treatment for swimming, boating, fishing, more so to keep folks off the water while we're out there. There's no restrictions per se on the label for swimming, but just makes prudent sense, we think, to keep people off the lake, and also helps not to stir up any of the water in the treatment areas as well. And then there's direct drinking from the lake, which I don't believe anybody does. There's a 3-day restriction for the Diquat, and there's a 5-day restriction on irrigation for the Diquat and flumioxazin. Generally, certainly within 48 hours, these herbicides are at less than 10% of their original dosage rate. So, and the 5 days, they're gone within 5 days completely, which is why the irrigation restriction is for 5 days. So.
And how about the copper?
Copper, yeah, that's probably gone within 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one's pretty rapidly dissipated. It attaches to various different things in the water chemistry. So
I hate to be a nudge. Can you scroll up a little more so we can see the key?
You bet.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the red's Diquat, yellow is the Diquat Flumi, and we choose that combination because of a prevalence of fan wart in the treatment area. Diquat copper is only used where we've seen or issues with tape grass in particular. Again, there's some areas that, we chose not to treat because they weren't really near any residential areas. So just to limit the total amount of treatment, like this red dot over here, there's not really any houses there. Same thing over here, it was fan wart dominated, but it was generally low biomass there. So.
Other questions or comments from commissioners? Questions or comments from members of the public? Hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve this treatment plan.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
beat me to it. I'll second Jeff.
All right. Motion by Jeff, second by Mary. Roll call vote. Mary?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
aye for myself. Thank you,
Great,
Dominic and
thank you very
Joanna.
much. I'm gonna stick around for the next one.
Oh, goody.
Bob, can I ask a quick question? I know you're in a rush. The DPW director reached out to us. They're redoing the bridge on Flat Hill Road, and they're asking if we could possibly start drawdown October 1st instead of October 15th to help get the construction going there. Is that something I would need to come in front of you because of the order of conditions, or where the DPW is requesting that? Is that something we can just do?
I can't answer that off the top of my head. I'd
Okay.
have to do some research.
Okay, we'll
Or
touch
the
base next
staff-
week.
The staff would have to do some research, you know,
Perfect.
look at the order of conditions and
Okay,
see
I'll
what it
touch
says.
base next week.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Joanna. Our next item on our agenda is Hickory Hills Solitude Lake Management Report and Treatment Plan. Dominic, is it this your show?
Yes, I think Nicole's here as well from from Hickory Hills. But yeah, I will present.
Go right ahead. Why don't you take down Lake Shirley's?
Yeah, I did. It looks the same. This is Hickory Hills.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
No, so this situation's a little bit different. As you folks know, the entire lake was treated with Sonar fluoridone herbicide in 2020 after a very valiant and long-term effort of hand pulling the fanwort in Hickory Hills Lake. It just started really getting ahead of them and got to the point where it wasn't able to be handled with the hand pulling and the diver assisted suction harvesting. So the whole lake was treated in 2020 to knock back the fanwort. They continued to do the hand pulling and dash work for regrowth. We have been doing very targeted treatments of fanwort regrowth in dense areas that require or would expend a lot of effort with the divers. So it allows them to kind of focus on the less dense areas. So this is similar situation. The treatment areas for this year are, so actually this map was submitted on June 4th with the original treatment plan, since June 4th. So originally there were 6 areas, or actually 7 areas of treatment. We've actually we've updated the map to add I think it was 3 different additional areas. So these are areas that over the course of last year, as well as the spring, these are areas that the divers have identified as being areas of dense fanwort growth that's really beyond the point of really diver hand pulling. So we're choosing to treat these areas with the flumioxazin herbicide so that they can focus on more efficient areas of the lake. I believe I unfortunately I forgot the total. The original map was, I believe, 14.3 acres, and we added the area over here, and we added the area up here. As you can see, these areas. So I added about another 2 acres onto that. So we'll be treating about 16 acres or so out of the whole lake, and the rest of the fanwort's going to be continued to be handled with the hand pulling. The treatment is also set for next week on the 17th. We'd ask the commission to approve the treatment plan. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comments from commissioners?
I don't have any questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mary. Questions or comments from members of the public? I'd just like to say that it's so impressive that Hickory Hills has divers that go down and actually survey the lake bottom from underwater So we don't get in a position where we were back in 2020, where all of a sudden it's a surprise to us, that the entire lake bottom is covered with fanwort, in the deeper water. So I think that's really impressive and really a testament, the people on the survey team, and the dive team, who do all that work. With that, I'm looking for a motion to approve this treatment plan.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mary, second by Jeff. Roll call. Mary.
Aye.
Jenny.
Aye.
Jeff.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
And I for myself.
Great. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Dominic. Next item on the agenda is a new public hearing. I'll repeat again for anybody who might not have been here at the very beginning, that we're not going to hear the 7 continued public hearings tonight. That they will be held next week. So at the next regularly scheduled meeting. New public hearing pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetland Protection and Municipal Bylaws. A public hearing on a notice of intent by Timothy Gendron for the proposal of construction of a new single-family home and associated amenities within a 100-foot wetland buffer zone and within the 50-foot no-build zone at 60 Cross Road, Lot 12A, Map 99, Parcel 12, DEP number 2081329. Who is here for this application?
You have Chris Anderson with Hannigan Engineering.
Hi, Chris. Chris, do you know, you have a DEP number. The DEP have any comments that you care to share with us before we start?
Yes, they do have a few comments. I can address them during my whole spiel about the
Excellent.
project.
Would you like to share your screen, Chris?
Absolutely.
Please do that.
All right. So can everybody see my screen now?
I can, speaking for myself.
All righty. All right, just again for the record, Chris Anderson with Hannigan Engineering here on behalf of Timothy Gendron for the construction of a single-family home at 60 Cross Road. Just before we get further ahead, I'll note that right now 60 Cross Road is this one contiguous lot. It's the intent that on a favorable decision by the commission, that the lot would be separated through the A&R process with the planning board. So just as a forewarning of why there's a 12A and a 12B later on in the agenda. Currently, this portion of the site is predominantly woodland with no standing structures. We do have a bordering vegetated wetland that runs along the, this would be page south. This would actually be the south side of the project and the west side of the project as well. That drains into a culvert that continues along to the opposite side of Cross Road, which runs along the bottom of the page here. As I said before, it's the intent to construct a single-family home on the property. Access will be provided by a new paved driveway, and utility services will utilize the existing municipal infrastructure for sewer and water in the street. This project, I will note, is part of an overall larger development. We have the existing house lot at number 60 Crossroads, Lot 12B. This proposed single-family home, as well as another duplex structure that's located further south along Cross Road that's owned by the applicant, and that's a duplex. So in total, there's a total proposed at this point in time is 4 residential units. But for the purposes of full clarity with the commission, the proponent also owns an additional parcel of land further west. That's off Pine Grove Road. That lot is not intended to be developed at any point in time in the foreseeable future, but it is noted that there is the potential that it could in the future be developed into either a single or a 2-family structure, which would kick us over, unfortunately, into the threshold of stormwater management relative to the state regulations, as we will have more than 4 residential units. So there's no direct critical infrastructure or critical resource area in the area. So compliance with stormwater management is required to the maximum extent practicable. So With that being said, we are looking to provide a little bit of mitigation for the proposed structure. In order to disconnect the roof runoff from the backside of the house, we're intending to direct the water into a small dry well system that will be located south of the proposed building in this area right here. That is intended just to provide a slight mitigation of the flows coming off the back of the building and disconnected for the smaller events. In larger events, the intent that that structure would obviously overflow and continue along its way, but its primary purpose is to capture the smaller storm events. Part of the project, we're not encroaching into the 50-foot no-build zone with the proposed structure or driveway, but I will note there is some clearing within the 50 to 30, but we're maintaining and honoring the 30-foot setback from the wetland, aka the no disturbance zone. Once everything is said and done, the area will be loamed and seeded, and we'll be utilizing straw wattle and silt fence along the perimeter of the construction, and that would be the permanent line in the sand, if you will. We have received DEP comment specific to the project. If the commission would like, I can go through these briefly.
Please do.
All right. The first comment is relative to as I stated before, the 5-unit subdivision, which would bring us into jurisdictional under the Mass Stormwater Standards to the maximum extent practicable. So that's noted, and we have provided a stormwater checklist, operation maintenance plan, and some other supporting calculations for compliance, showing that we're meeting the intent with the maximum extent practicable. The second comment is relative to an infiltration BMP. The proposed dry well doesn't function as an infiltration feature, but nonetheless, the proposed structure is located just outside the 50. I will note, just due to space constraints, a small portion of the dry well stone, if you will, does encroach into the 50, but the lion's share of the well itself is located outside of that area. The third comment is relative to the us providing additional supporting information for the stormwater report. Like I said before, we did provide compliance calculations and reviewed in detail each specific standard and how we're meeting it to the maximum extent practicable. And that was pretty much their comments. If there's anything specific to any of this project stuff, I will be more than happy to address them.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Go ahead, Mary. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so as I was reading along, I saw the DEP was asking about test pits. I didn't notice any test pits when I was out there on the sidewalk.
Correct. We have not done any test pits at this point in time. Usually we'll do it right before we install the structure. But obviously if it's at the preference of the commission, we can try to schedule a machine to get out there sooner. It's generally not a great soil, if you will. It's predominantly I believe a Paxton soil complex, so it's not the greatest infiltration capacity. So we're utilizing the soil mapping that's available through the NRCS mapping programs.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd like to see those test pits. But that was my only question, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Any other questions from commissioners? Chris, can you explain to the commission about the stormwater? Okay, so this right now does not qualify for a stormwater plan, but if you're hedging your bets, because if you develop these other two lots, it will. And it's my understanding, and I'm looking for you to correct me, that it's the planning board that reviews the stormwater plan, not the Conservation Commission.
That would be correct. That does fall under the purview of the planning board. But as part of the stormwater review process, you have to exceed 1 acre of disturbance to be subject to the local stormwater bylaw. So we're below that threshold, so we don't truly qualify for that. So the proposed project, as you see now, falls under just straight state regulation.
And so, like, what happens in like in say a decade, they decide to develop those other 2 lots, and they come back and they look at this stormwater plan and they don't like it. Do they, I don't, can you explain to me how that works?
So that gets into a little bit more of a legal conversation, if you will. But at that point in time, if this project has been established and it's doing its own thing for a certain period of time, and I don't know the statute of limitations on something like this, but effectively these existing lots that would have been developed in a relatively quicker time frame, say, you know, in the next year or two, wouldn't be truly subject to the bylaw, but that newer lot potentially could be. So it gets into a legal question that I unfortunately don't have a good answer for you at this point in time.
Well, I was hoping for a simple answer, and if one doesn't exist, we're going to move on.
Mr. Chair, I have another question.
Go ahead, Mary.
So, and Chris, I don't want to preempt, right? We went to the DEP comments and you were walking through those. I don't know if there were other things you wanted to present, or if it's just Q&A time right now.
No, I think that's it. I know there is an outstanding question relative to the floodplain in this area, or the lack thereof. So if the commission would like me to elaborate more on that, I can also do that as well, just to bring everybody up to speed of the additional information we provided to DEP to prove out that the area is not in the BLSF, if you will.
Mr. Chair, I would be interested in that.
Please proceed, Chris.
Okay. I apologize. Share screen stuff's blocking my tool list here. All right. Okay, so as many of the commission members might be aware, as part of the other filing for Lot 2, the duplex structure, a question relative to the BLSF, or the bordering land subject to flooding question, came up as part of that review. So we've looked at the current FEMA firm panel that's currently active for the site. It shows a BLSF area that pretty much is encompassed around Lake Whalum. That shows an elevation of about 514, but that 514 is predicated on a vertical datum that is no longer utilized anymore. That utilizes the 1929 vertical datum. The site as designed right now is situated on the 88 datum, which just is a different way of looking at the elevations throughout the continental United States. And I can get a little deeper into that, but it's pretty much just a slight shift in the elevation depending on where you are. So in this area, we did the datum shift, and we found that the elevation is converted to 512.9, so about a 1.2 foot drop, if you will, in elevation from the 29 to the 88 datum. As part of the original FEMA firm panel, the limit of the flood study terminated in this general area under the original panel. Pretty much FEMA said we don't want to, it pretty much insinuated they don't want to make any jurisdictional claim on that, and left it to be left to our due diligence to confirm it. So we've done the math, and we've looked at the contours within this area, and we've found that a natural berm develops right along this lower edge of the lake, with an elevation hovering around 513.5 to 514, depending on where you are. So this berm, if you will, creates a natural barrier for hydraulic connection between Lake Whalum and this site. As shown on this plan, we've highlighted the 512.9 contour to help illustrate the fact that the two sites are hydraulically not connected with one another. So as part of the questions raised by DEP, we provided the additional documentation and the calculations to show that we are indeed not in the BLSF. If it was, the BLSF would extend throughout this entire property and go all the way down to effectively cross the road.
BLSF is bordering land subject to flooding, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I have another question though,
Go.
if I may. So while I was out there walking the site this weekend, I saw the wetlands delineation, but I didn't see any other marks. So the 30-foot wasn't staked, the 50, the 100. I'm not even certain I saw the subdivision lines marked, and I didn't see any stakes for the proposed structure locations.
Yes, that'd be correct. Those were not staked out.
Okay. And for me, I wasn't able to kind of figure out from the plans really how the house was going to fit in there relative to the wetlands. Do you have a subdivision map that shows the existing house lots, the proposed subdivision, and the way the houses fit into the lots, given the wetlands and the buffer zones?
We have not developed the formal A&R plan at this point in time.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I would not be willing to proceed until I understood that better.
If Mary's not willing to proceed, I'm not willing to proceed. So Chris, I suggest that you take and you get back out there and you dig those test pits that Mary referenced, and that you stake out the house location and in your buffer
zones, yeah.
And that we ask for and that you consent to a continuance at the date of your choosing. I mean, our next meeting is only a week away. I don't know if you can get that all done in a week in time for us to go out and look at it ahead of time, or.
No, I can almost guarantee you that will not be doable.
So we're looking for 3 weeks from now. Can you do it by 3 weeks?
I believe we should be able to get that accomplished within 3 weeks.
Oh, wait a minute. I gotta admit somebody. I just looked up. Susan Whalen. I thought I already admitted her once. Susan Whalen, I apologize that you had to wait so long to get in. So are there any other comments or any other asks of Chris before we continue this, so that when he comes back in 3 weeks, you'll send a message to Sophia when the staking and the test pits have been dug, so the commissioners know they can go out and take a look?
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Mr. Chair, if I may, would you have that subdivision plan available to us at that time as well?
I can put that into at least a very rough conceptual form. Obviously, it won't be endorsed or anything like that, but a draft can be prepared ahead of that meeting.
That's what I would be looking for, Mr. Chair.
All right. With that, then, I'm looking for a motion to continue to August. Somebody help me here.
7th.
August 7th.
So moved.
Thank you for the help. And thank you for the motion. I heard Jenny make the motion. Who seconded?
Chris.
Chris, thank you, Chris. Roll call. Mary.
Aye.
Jenny.
Aye.
Jeff.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Aye for myself. On to our next public hearing. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended. The Title Owner of Wetland Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on notice of intent by Timothy Gendron for the proposal of construction of a new addition and driveway onto the existing single-family home within a 100-foot wetland buffer zone and within 50 foot of a no-build zone at 60 Cross Road, Lot 12B, Map 99, Parcel 12, DEP number 2081327. Chris, I assume this is also you.
Yes, sir.
So.
All right. So, just for the record, Chris Anderson with Hannigan Engineering here on behalf of Timothy Gendron. Here tonight for a addition to a single-family home, along with the construction of a new driveway to service the proposed addition. This was going to be designated as lot 12B, and this would be consisting of the existing dwelling on the property. As I stated before on the previous hearing, the intent that this lot will be subdivided to create 12A, 12B parcel designation. Currently, there's an existing single-family home, has a driveway located along the northerly side of the property with the corresponding lawn area and pool and other recreational facilities. The proposed structure will be located along the southerly side of the existing structure. This will provide access to a new drive-under garage, which will be serviced by the proposed driveway. Along the proposed driveway, similar to the previous project, we are subject to stormwater management to the maximum extent practicable. So to provide some offset from the velocity of the runoff coming off the driveway, we're proposing to install a filter strip about 2 feet wide along the downhill gradient portion of the driveway to provide velocity mitigation and to mitigate significant erosion issues long term. Proposed addition will occur primarily in an area of existing grass. There will be, it is noted that there will be some additional clearing of woodland just to install the actual driveway. And I'll highlight that in a moment here. This area of the site will have to be cleared in order to construct the said driveway, but the site is, the majority of the work will occur within the lawn space itself. Similar to the previous hearing, we did receive DEP comment, and it's effectively the same comments that were raised relative to stormwater management, infiltration, and other such features, as well as the BLSF conversation. And the purposes of brevity for tonight's meeting, I won't go too far into that unless the commission would like it. But with that being said, if there's any questions from the commission, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Questions from the commission?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
I kind of blinked while Chris was going through his description of where this blue detail line is. I wondered if you might repeat that for my benefit.
So that is just going to be the limit of clearing on this proposed lot. The site is predominantly grass right now. So the majority of the project will occur in that area. So the blue outlined area would be the limit of additional clearing required to install the driveway.
If I guess the one thing that I'm misunderstanding here is the limit of work seems to incorporate the other parcel as well.
Correct. That would be constructed at about the same time frame as the intent.
Oh, okay. Okay. And so then the clearing of the trees is proposed to go back to the 30-foot no touch zone and then extend onto this property as well?
Correct.
Similarly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm assuming the blue line was just carelessly drawn and it wouldn't really cross the limit of disturbance.
Correct. No, that was just
quickly drawn.
sketching.
I shouldn't say carelessly drawn. I just said quickly drawn. I should have said quickly drawn.
Yes, it was quickly drawn with a mouse looking at a really small screen. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Sorry to disparage your drawings.
No, don't worry about it.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
So I actually was looking for this in the folder so that I could, zoom in and pan around the way I need to do it. And I haven't found it yet, so I'll be silent for a minute, but that's what I'm doing.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, while I'm looking, if I might add just another comment, I also don't think that this one is staked or flagged for the 30 and the 50.
And I think that's a reasonable request, and as long as we're requesting it of the right next door, I think we should request of it here, at least in the area where the activity is proposed.
Agreed. And if I might ask, the culvert that goes under Cross Road in this vicinity, as I understand it, it's on the far left-hand side of this drawing as shown. So you'd be
Yes,
squeezing
that's
12A in on the side of the culvert.
yes. The red square right there is the location of the existing culvert.
Thank you for that. So, Mr. Chair, my comments are similar to the previous application. I don't have anything further. Just speaking for myself, would like to see the overview of the subdivision and where the work is proposed for the lots on the subdivision. I would like to see the test pits, and I would like to see the rest of the site marking and staking completed.
Any other asks of the applicant engineer? So, I gotta admit Peter Cambasso. Peter, welcome to the meeting. I'm sorry I didn't see you to admit you before now. Are there any comments or questions from members of the public? If there are no questions or comments from the members of the public, or if there's no additional questions or comments from commissioners, that I'm looking for a motion to continue to August 7th.
So moved, Mike?
Second.
All right, motion and seconded. Roll call. Mary?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Aye for myself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended. The Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a requested determination of applicability by David Feinberg for replacement of existing rolling dock at Dickinson Reservoir, located at 25 Cliffview Terrace. I know I saw David here. David, you representing yourself?
Yes, with my wife.
Okay.
She's
So
better at it than I am.
So David, would you like do you have a plan for us to look at? And if can you share it, or would you like us to do that for you?
I thought let me see. I thought I gave you one when I submitted the application.
Oh, I'm sure you did, but I'm asking you, do you have it handy digitally, and can you share your screen or not?
I will tell you in a second. I have to
All
find
right.
it. Sorry about that.
It's not a problem. I'd much rather wait patiently for you to do it than have to do it myself.
Okay, I have it up. I don't know how to share it though.
Okay, and so go to the bottom of the screen, and right in the middle of the bottom of the screen, there's a green arrow that says share screen.
Ah,
Click on that. David F. has started sharing the screen. There we have it.
that's because my wife's here. She's telling me what to do.
Okay, that's why we have wives.
So there's not much. So this is basically the same design as the previous dock. This dock, though, is actually a little bit smaller. It's smaller by about a foot in the 6 foot, the 10 by 6. The old one was, I think, 10 by 7, so it's a little bit smaller. It's all aluminum. It'll be on wheels. It'll go in the spring and come out in the fall. It's going in the exact same spot as the previous dock. There's no change to the shoreline. There's no navigation issues. It doesn't impede on our neighbor's property. What other information can I provide?
Are there any comments or questions from commissioners?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
Questions from commissioners.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Go ahead, Mary.
So as I understand it, you're not going to be making any changes to the beach area there, nor will you be taking down any vegetation or trees or anything in that area.
That's correct.
Okay. And then when I was there this weekend, and it's a lovely spot that you have there.
Thank you.
Your previous dock is still on the shore within the 30-foot area.
Correct.
And will you be removing that promptly?
That is the plan. I just have to find the muscle to do it.
Okay. Mr. Chair, it's my understanding that keeping that dock on the shore within the 30 during the growing time frame is a violation of the 30-foot no touch zone.
So, David, how soon can you get that dock out of there?
Now, very soon. I'll get some people to get rid of it, to move it out beyond the 30 feet.
Thank you, David.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions, Mary?
Those were my only comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from members of the? Any other comments or questions from other commissioners or members of the public?
Mr. Chair, if I might,
Go ahead.
could we condition that the old dock be removed within 30 days?
We certainly could. Was that a motion, Mary?
And that's otherwise a motion to approve, yes.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve, which is a negative determination with a condition that the old dock be removed from the 30-foot no disturb within 30 days. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, I heard Jenny second it. Roll call. Mary?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
And I for myself. Thank you, David.
Okay, thank you very much. And especially thanks to Sophie and the staff for being so patient with me.
Okay. So now we've reached the end of our public hearings. And so we're going to do a poll of the people who are here to see why they are here. If there's anything that's on the agenda that we should prioritize in terms of meeting. Greg Roy, why are you here?
Thanks for asking, Bob. I am here for the notice of project change, 406 Sunset Lane and 37 Pearl Street.
Okay. Nicole, why are you here? Or not? Sue Whalen, are you here for anything in particular? About Peter Campobasso?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman. I was here just to follow up on 813 Chase Road, Lot B, the certificate of compliance.
Okay, so we will take up first Greg's thing, and then we'll take up the certificate of compliance, and I don't hear anything else pressing from the members of the public who are here. So let's move on to what you're here for, Greg.
I'm here for the notice of project change, but honestly, I'm happy to yield to Mr. Campobasso if you'd like to take him first.
Mr. Campobasso, why are you here?
I'm here for 813 Chase Road, Lot B. That was a request for us.
Certificates of compliance.
Correct.
Okay. Sophie, can you take us through this request for a certificate of compliance and tell us if you have a recommendation?
Yes. For 813 Chase Road, Lot B, I would recommend approving it. There were, I think, some changes that happened. However, I believe it was within the area of the driveway. However, it's still according to plan. So I think you should approve that.
Any comments or questions from members of the commission? Any comments from the other members of the public that are here? Hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for 813 Chase Road, Lot B.
So moved. Second.
Motion and seconded. Roll call. Mary?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
And I for myself.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I'll follow up with Sophie for the actual certificate.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Yep. Greg, what are you here for?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm here. I think the first one is 406 Sunset Lane, which is Nancy Milady.
Yep. Notice of project change.
Yes. If I may share my screen.
Please do.
Okay. How's that? You see that all right?
Yep.
Okay. We were here late last year to do a similar request for the plan that's in front of you. I just wanted to give a little quick history lesson. I'll try to be brief here in the interest of time. But we asked you to approve a minor modification. So this property is all the way out at the end of Sunset Lane, right out at the end of the peninsula. Very small dwelling. They put a modest sized addition on it that was approved by the commission about a year ago. Extensive replacement of all the old railroad tie walls that existed around the lake. Brett Ramson has actually completed most of that work. It looks beautiful, as most of you are pretty familiar with Brett's work. This one's no exception. And they're now getting ready to do the restoration, final installation of the plantings at the site. And it's becoming apparent that we would like to make a few modifications to the approved planting plan. So I'm starting with this plan because I wanted to point your attention to what we had approved currently on the site. Currently, we're proposing the planting of 1 red maple, 2 white oaks, 1 magnolia tree, 8 rhododendron shrubs, and 30 periwinkle ground cover type vegetation plants. Mark Bursch with Lakeview Landscaping has been selected by the applicant to do the installation of the plants in the landscaping features. And he's identified some difficulty getting the trees in there. We did receive approval to take out several trees on the site as part of the initial project. Even with the removal of those trees, it's pretty difficult to find locations for 4 additional trees that are really going to do well. There's quite a bit of overstory still that exists on the site. So the applicant is proposing some modifications this evening to the planting plan, which is why we're here. And it's a little bit difficult to go through, so I'll do the best. I'm going to start with the planting schedule. So we're proposing 4 overstory trees. you know, with the previous iteration. Currently, 4 overstory trees are proposed. We're asking you to allow us to replace 2 of those trees with some additional shrubs. So we think that we have a good location for the magnolia tree. We'd like to replace, instead of doing the oak and the maple, we'd like to put in a American mountain ash, which again that's an overstory species. And then we're proposing, in lieu of the additional 2 trees, we're actually asking to install an additional 4 shrubs. So we had previously proposed 8 rhododendrons. Now we're proposing a total of 12 shrubs and a little bit more variety. So we're splitting the rhododendron. We're proposing to put a few that are PJM's variety, a couple of common rhododendron, 4 common rhododendrons, and then 4 mountain laurel, which again in the rhododendron family, but just a slightly different species. And then we still propose to do the periwinkle. So when you look at where we had previously proposed a few of the trees, I think we had one in this location up here. It's very difficult when you look at where the walls are and where the septic tank is. This plan is drawn at like 1 inch equals 10 feet. So where you're used to a 20 scale plan, there's just not a lot of space out here. It's a very tight space. So, and there's really no, we just don't think that planting an overstory tree here is going to do very well in the long term. So we're proposing some shrubs in that place, and the same thing throughout the site. I think we had another tree down on the point, and it's just with the overstory trees, the large maple and pine trees that we have remaining on the site, it just didn't seem to lend itself very well to the adding another tree in that location. So that's it. We're really just asking for to diversify the planting a little bit and replace 2 overstory trees with 4 shrubs is what it boils down to. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
I answer questions from commissioners.
No questions from me, Mr. Chair.
No questions from me either.
And none from me. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as proposed.
Second.
All right, motion and seconded. Roll call. Mary.
Aye.
Jenny.
Aye.
Jeff.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Aye for myself.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Anything else, Greg?
Yep, I have 37 Pearl Street, Clouthier is the applicant.
Okay, that's also a notice of project change.
That's correct.
Take it away.
I didn't mention, but for the record, my name is Greg Roy with Dilson Roy, and I am representing the applicant this evening. We have an order of conditions. Well, truthfully, I'm not sure, not trying to pour salt on the wound, but I'm not sure we have an order of conditions yet on this one. But the commission did vote to approve the plan that was dated, that's in front of you here, that was dated 12/11/2023. It is the project is essentially the reconstruction of the house on the property. It's adjacent to Lake Shirley, so it includes the.
Can you share your screen with us, Greg?
Oh, sure. Sorry. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I forgot that I had stopped sharing. How's that?
Much better.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So again, the project is on Pearl Street, and it involves the demolition of the existing house and the construction of a new house on the site. The commission has approved that project, and it also involves the upgrade and reconstruction of the septic system on the site, which is shown here in the dark brown. Would be the new approved location of the leaching area. The orange line here is the limit of the 30-foot no touch. The second orange line here is the limit of the 50-foot no build. this plan that you're looking at is the approved plan that you folks approved. The plan's dated December 9th, 2023. And you can see here that we had the breakout grading. You can see here these solid lines, the 306 and the darker 305. That's the limit of the breakout grading that was approved for the septic system. So it goes right up to the 30-foot no-touch zone. We would like to request, that instead of doing that grading all the way out to the 30-foot, and on this plan, the 30-foot is shown in this, let me highlight it, 30-foot's right here. We would like to propose that instead of grading all through this area out for the breakout grading, that we instead install this wall. So we would essentially be pulling the grading back further away from the lake. The area between the base of this wall and the 30-foot no touch, which is approximately 10 feet. So we'd be pulling the grading back about 10 feet further from the lake with the installation of a wall. It just seems to work a little bit better on site when they got out there and started really looking at the fine details of the construction. The wall, of course, would be completely outside of the no disturb zone, and really would just function to eliminate the breakout grading that we would need, that we would otherwise need if it wasn't there. And it's a perfectly satisfactory way of doing it relative to Title V code with the septic system. We would put a staircase in, as you can see here, because we do have an existing and walkway that we're maintaining. That's all.
So it says the wall would be 2 to 4 feet tall. So
That's
where would
correct.
it be 2 and where would it be 4, you know?
Let me see if I can show you that. So we have a roughly right in here, right where my cursor is, we're a little lower than elevation 305, call it 304.8. And the top of that wall would be 309. So right in there, you're about 3.5 feet. If you were to come over here, we're at elevation 306 at the bottom, and the top would be 309. So you'd be about 3 feet there. And on the ends, obviously, you'd be tapering down to 0. So you're in that 3.5 foot range for most of it, and then at the ends, you'd be tapering off.
Okay, to state the obvious, this would be in the no structure zone. Questions or comments from commissioners?
Yeah, can you go into more detail about the block? Are we talking about what kind of blocking are we using for this wall? Is it going to be tied in to hold up? Like, what's the proposed construction for that?
I have no idea. To be quite honest with you, I mean, I think they're going to use a precast concrete block. I don't know exactly if they've selected a type, but it wouldn't be a poured wall.
Okay.
It would be one of those modular type concrete block walls.
All right.
I'm not sure if they're using a small format or a larger format, but either way, a wall less than 4 feet would not require tiebacks.
Okay. Thank you.
It wouldn't be considered a structural wall at less than 4 feet.
Other comments or questions from commissioners? To me, there's a trade-off here. You know, you're removing grading and filling closer to the lake. And in exchange for that, you know, you're getting a structure.
Do you consider a retaining wall a structure? Because it doesn't, I mean, a retaining wall doesn't have to meet like zoning offsets.
I understand the commission in the past has considered retaining wall structures.
Okay.
But as one member of the commission, I'm willing to entertain it tonight, because to me, there's some trade-offs here. But I'm only one member of the commission, and we got 6 people here.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve as presented.
We have a second.
Second by Jeff.
All right, a motion and second. Roll call. Mary.
Aye.
Jenny.
Aye.
Jeff.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Aye for myself.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
2 for 2.
Can I ask, Mr. Chair, could I ask a general question?
Yes, you just did. Got any more?
I do. I do. I was listening through some of the previous hearings, and I heard the commission ask for staking of the 30-foot buffer, 50-foot buffer, and 100 and so on. Our office hasn't been asked to do that. And so I want to know, is that becoming something that's becoming more standard? I don't want to waste time coming to an opening meeting, having not done something that could have been done prior. I mean, is that something the commission's looking at on a case-by-case basis, or is it something that the commission's looking to stake? I mean, we obviously always flag wetlands, and we often will stake the location of the proposed structures on the site, but we don't think we've ever been asked to physically stake the location of the buffer zones or offsets. And so I just wanna...
in the past, speaking just for myself, in my own flawed memory, in the past, I recall us, I'm admitting Matthew Nazarenko, asking people to stake the 30-foot no disturb.
Okay.
And sometimes, like if we have a structure that's close, I can remember, but I think it's been more of a case-by-case basis, but more than, what are other people's thoughts on,
You don't have to, you don't have to, you don't have to dwell on it. It caught my attention because I don't think I've ever done it before. So I just wanted to, I don't want to burn a meeting just because we could have staked something. If you're going to be asking for that more often, so.
Mr. Chair, if I could comment?
Go ahead. Absolutely.
So the reason why I was asking for it out there is that in this in those project areas, I really was completely unclear about where they were proposing to put the structure and how it fit into the topography. And I felt like, they had anything besides the wetland flags out there, I would have stood a much better chance of understanding what they were doing and how they were proposing to shoehorn, a structure into that. And so that's why for me, I was asking for it. So for me, I think it's more case by case.
Case by case. Okay, understood. Yep. And I wasn't trying to pour salt on the wound again. I just wanted to, I had an opportunity.
It's a fair question. Yeah. But I appreciate you being, for me personally, I appreciate you being proactive and asking that kind of question.
Sure. Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else here for anything special? If not, we're going to go back to the agenda and go through it linearly as published. Going once, going twice. Oh, we have a thing, administrative determination. It says 1010 Royal Fern Drive. Is that 110 Royal Fern Drive, Sophia?
Yes, I believe so.
Mary, can you chair this part of the
it's
meeting?
110.
That's on the
Yes.
It is 110.
Yes. Okay, Sophie. If you would go over what is the proposed work and what your recommendation is.
Okay. I'm just gonna pull up the images to jog my memory. There's been a lot lately.
I love images, so thank you.
I'm a visual person, so okay, yes, this was a proposal for a few trees to be removed on a lakefront property. So there are, when I went out to the site, I noticed that there were clear marks of destruction, I guess you could say, to the applicant's boat that was clearly struck by one of the trees that had already fallen and is doing damage. I believe there is a little bit of sunlight competition going on in that area, specifically with some older trees, mostly pines, and you can tell by the images, and I can share them if you would like.
Yes, please. Maybe not 100, but maybe
there's
4 or
like
5 to give us a sense.
Well, that doesn't look great, but yeah. Can you see that okay?
Yes, I can see that.
So, for example, this is one of them. The overstory is very bare. And there's another example. I believe that's the first one, and here's the other one. Overcrowded by deciduous species.
So, Sophie, if I could, in my own words, say what your recommendation includes here is that taking out these trees would, in fact, give the remaining trees, make them healthier, give them more room.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the healthy trees are struggling. I think the main concern is the applicant was concerned about trees falling and possibly causing more destruction to the boat and the landing area that they have there, and possibly getting in the water, which is kind of a pain as well. But they're marked out, and I don't have any issue. I don't see any issues with removing them and not replanting anything, because whatever would be replanted, there just wouldn't be enough resources.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I think I'm looking. Well, does anybody have any questions of Sophie? No commissioners. Any member of the public have any comments, questions, or comments? I think I'm looking for a motion to approve Sophie's recommendation.
So moved.
We have a second. Thank you, Jenny. So we have a motion from Chris and a second by Jenny. Roll call vote. Mike?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
And Bob is abstaining. So yeah, that's a unanimous approval. Thank you, Sophie. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you, Mary. Certificate of Compliance, 90 Hemlock Drive. Tell us about this, Sophie.
Again, pulling up my visual helpers here. Okay, so this one was reviewed by myself, and I believe his name was, I'm blanking on his name anyway, but a registered professional to come in and check that everything was done to plan. Vegetation and everything else was stabilized in the areas that were renovated. It was a house renovation, and everything stabilized. They noted a small garden was built, but there was another item that was not carried out due to some other reasons, that it was on the right side of the house where they didn't put steps in. They were proposing to install some steps on that side, and they weren't done. On that side, it appears that there's some no erosion, but just patches of dirt on the grass, but nothing of concern. But I do think the overall project was completed, minus the installation of those pervious stones on that area.
So score 1 for our team. So your recommendation is?
To approve the COC.
I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Mary,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
aye for myself. Tell us about 160 Sunset Lane, Sophie, please.
This one is very straightforward. It was a dock with, well, not a dock, I'm sorry, a deck. There's stairs going down to the deck extension. And I went and visited, took some photos, and it appears to be exactly as the plan, the dimensions and everything. So I'd approve this COC.
Looking for a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Mary,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
aye for myself. 205 Sunset Lane Beers Lot superseding OOC 205 Sunset Lane DEP number 2081299. If I recall correctly, we voted on this, but the order of conditions was never issued, and the people there have applied to the DEP for a superseding order of conditions. Do I have that right?
Yes, that's right.
And I also recall that we got some advice from the town attorney that we should do an enforcement action there because the deck as built doesn't comply.
That's correct.
And have we done any enforcement action yet?
Not to date, but it is in the works. It's started, the paper is started, but it has not been issued.
And when do we anticipate it'll be issued?
Hopefully by the end of day tomorrow or Monday morning of next week.
I like that answer. Thank you, Sophie. Any questions or comments from commissioners? And when is their superseding order of conditions public? Is there a public hearing associated with that by the DEP?
I'm not sure if it's public, but I know that I am meeting with DEP on, I have to check my calendar. I don't know off the top of my head. Sometime.
Okay. Could you please send a note to the commission?
Oh, sorry, July 24th.
July 24th, at what time?
11 a.m.
And is it virtual or in person?
In person.
Here or at their office?
This is on the site itself.
Oh, on the site.
From my understanding.
July 24th at 11 a.m. There'll be a site visit to there. Okay, thank you. Any commissioners interested in going is more than welcome to go.
Mr. Chair, I would like to try to attend.
That would be wonderful if someone could go. Because these people have been very resistant to actually complying with our direction.
I should be available also.
That would be wonderful, Chris. Thank you. 1168 Mass Ave Rear. Anything new on that?
No updates on that.
And 40 Fire Road 12, I know the town attorney recently sent them an additional letter. 950 Chase Road. I don't think there's anything new on that. And 361 Mass Ave Rear, what's that? I've forgotten.
61. I believe That is something that DEP brought. They sent I guess, a informative FYI about a violation that was happening over there. I think they're on top.
I believe that's the forestry violation, is it not?
Yes, I think they're on top
that
of
makes
that.
sense.
Yeah, that's not really a wetlands issue. People, well, I guess it can be a wetlands issue, but they clear cut back there when they weren't supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm gonna do the topic. I'm gonna leave topics unknown till the end, 48 hours in advance. Old business update on title searches. I don't have any updates unless somebody else does. 950 Chase Road shed removal. I don't have any anything there. Or at 315 Lancaster, do you know if they removed the other stuff down there, Sophia?
I doubt it. Because the last time I was there and confirmed that shed was removed, but I do not believe. I'm not sure if it was clear for the other various debris needed to be removed as well.
Okay. Grant update, LCC sponsored award year 2023. We got clearance from Julie Bellevue to take and do it without just go out to straight out to bid. However, we then Mary brought it to my attention that we need to take and jump through some hoops as far as the state is concerned with requesting quotes. And so we need to do that. And I just haven't gotten to it yet, and I don't know when I will. I was watching the selectmen's meeting last night, and they're going to supposedly be reaching back out to boards and commissions about ARPA funds. And it occurred to me, since they seem to have money they want to give away, that maybe we should ask for ARPA funds to pay for the matching grant part of that grant, that planning
Excellent
grant,
idea.
rather than having to cut more trees down to pay for it.
Excellent idea.
Is that a motion, Mary, to authorize Bob to write a letter on behalf of the commission requesting ARPA funds to pay for the
So moved.
Second.
And let me know if there's anything I can do to help.
All right. A roll call. Mary?
Aye.
Jenny? Jenny still here?
He said
Yeah.
aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I think you're muted.
No. Oops.
No, I'm sure it was my hearing.
It was
Jeff?
me, I'm sure.
Jeff?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
And I for myself. And by the way, you know, we were kind of counting on like the 20 or the 30 grand we were going to get from the harvest at Reno. And it's not clear to me that that harvest is going to take place because the forester, Mr. King, made an extraordinarily high quote to be bid to begin with. And I guess the price of white pine has really fallen a great deal in the year and a half since he made that bid. And he's not that all anxious to do the harvest now, but of course our forester is trying to get him to do it because our forester gets a cut. So I don't know how that's all going to come out. So Hollis Road residents, property maintenance. Mike, you got anything to say there?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Acting chair.
Acting chair. We did get a donation of a lawnmower, but when we checked it out, we had a frozen piston, so it wasn't worth accepting. So I'm going to propose, I was looking at Home Depot, and I spoke with Ginny Albertson, and she concurs with my proposal, and that we just purchase a new lawnmower, given you know, the when we get used mowers, they seem to be more broken.
How much?
$931. We can get a John Deere S100 42-inch, 17.5 horsepower gas hydrostatic riding lawnmower.
And how much of the time is this mower used to maintain the residence, and how much of the time is this mower, and who does that, and how much of the time is this mower used for the pollinator habitat?
Well, the pollinator habitat generally will mow every week to 2 weeks, depending on the weather conditions. And in the past, the tenant at the Hollis Road residence, when the mower was available and working, she too would, you know, do the lawn every week to 2 weeks. So I think it would be a half and half usage of the mower. And that's what I would recommend at this point, Mr. Acting Chair.
Thank you, Mike. Do we have a motion? Or is there a discussion? Any discussion?
No discussion for me, Mr.
Well,
Chair.
Do we have a motion?
I would make a motion to approve not to exceed $1,000 for replacement of the broken riding mower with the new lawnmower as proposed by Mike LaRouche.
Do we have a second? All right, roll call. Mary.
Aye.
Jenny.
Aye.
Jeff.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
And a reluctant aye for myself.
Mr. Chair, if I could just ask a clarifying question, is that
Sure.
paid for out of the Hawes Fund, or?
It'd be paid for out of the Hollis Fund, and I would urge us to try to work through the facilities director, who is now on maternity leave, or paternity leave. So, or maybe, you know, he must have an assistant or something, but because I heard also at the selectmen's meeting last night that he was going on paternity leave for 8 weeks. So,
did you say 8 weeks?
I did say 8 weeks.
I had a conversation similar, but I heard it was 2 weeks. So,
and I am an old fart with defective hearing, as we all know. So, you know, it could have easily been 2.
All right. Well, we certainly wish him and his the mom and the new child. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. Did you find that out, Bob?
I did not find that out. I saw his wife standing on the front porch the other day, and she was clearly pregnant. So
yes. So can I get in touch with his assistant to order this mower?
Yeah, I would take and see if there's anybody down there. And Heather said there was, you know, you should talk to his assistant in his absence. So
okay,
I would give that a shot.
Do we know who the assistant's name is?
Not a clue.
Okay, I'll find out. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not more helpful.
That's okay.
I'm hoping to get Heather's attention before she vanishes about, can we change the Hollis Road Fund so that amounts in excess of a reserve for the maintenance of the property are available on other properties. But I don't know if I'll get to that before she leaves. open space. Any report on open space?
I do have one thing, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
That open space is actually meeting tonight. One of the topics that they were meeting about is 20 Kilburn Street, which we actually saw some subdivision and proposals for houses in and around. They're pulling their that property is currently in a what is it, 61B abatement, and so the town has first right of refusal. It is 92 acres. It's not adjacent to any other Conservation Commission area. It is adjacent to 2 other town parcels that abut Massapogue Pond. So Mike Toohill would be looking for the Conservation Commission to say whether they're interested in procuring that parcel or not.
Speaking for myself, I'd be looking for a motion to say we're not interested because it, first of all, we just went through the subdivision process and approved the 2 lots. I don't know why the town would want to take and outbid other people for that land. It doesn't meet any of the criteria that I know of.
I don't think it meets any criteria.
Yeah, and so I was going to bring that up under topics unknown 48 hours advance and throw it on the agenda and vote on it so we can send a select board a recommendation.
I would also not be in favor of trying to procure that.
Is that a motion, Mary?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Nobody else seems to have a question.
I will second it. Roll call vote. Mary?
Aye.
Jenny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Aye for myself. So that's one thing. Let's see. Grants. The beaver deceiver at Cowdrey, as you know, I got a grant from the Massachusetts Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals to pay for a second beaver deceiver. However, we need to install a culvert there. DPW has delivered the pipes and the collars needed to connect the pipes, 3 pipes. But I came down with COVID and I haven't done diddly in the last 2 weeks. I reached out to Matt Proctor about installing it because he once told me in a weak moment that he'd be willing to help, but he never got back to me. So then I reached out to Brett Ramsden, and Brett Ramsden told me he didn't really have the time, but he might be able to do it anyway. But I never got back to him because I've been out with COVID. So, but if we get that done, that'd be great. Anything from stormwater, Jenny? Sorry, I'm jumping.
There is nothing new from stormwater. We're meeting next week.
Sophie, at our last meeting or 2 meetings ago, the commission authorized purchase orders for new purchase orders in the new fiscal year for Mackey's and for the MRPC GIS and for Smart Sign. Do we know if those POs have been created?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to check with Stephanie.
Can you please ask Stephanie to contact me with a status on that tomorrow?
Yes, let me either I can write it down now or you can send an email.
Why don't you write it down now?
All right.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I have a question also in the financial kind
Go
of
ahead.
arena. So last year we got a bequeath from the Sean Kelly estate.
Yep.
Have you confirmed that those, I think you were going to confirm that those were in an appropriate fund for the Conservation Commission to use on conservation lands?
They are.
Okay, and then you were
At least
also
yeah. That's what I've been told.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, Ezekiel sent me a financial report probably a month ago that I haven't looked at. So probably I'm hoping if I actually get around to opening that email, that in the trust fund summary, it'll show up in the trust funds. But I was told by Mylene Millardi that it was put in with the trust funds.
Okay, excellent.
The advantage of that is that we get the interest. If it's not put in the trust fund, we don't get the interest.
Oh, okay.
But if it's put in the trust fund, we get the interest. The interest on $800,000 is substantial.
Yes, indeed. And also related to that, we had authorized title search fees to be funded out of that, and then discussed changing that to have the title search fees actually pulled from the timber rights fund. And I don't know if that actually went through with all the chaos happening in the accounting department.
And I don't know either, and that would be another conversation with because I've never seen any bills. When I discussed it, I think actually you were at the meeting with Heather, and she said, "Oh, that's because probably the treasurer never broke them out and billed, and knew enough to bill conservation, for that title search." So I don't know if we've ever actually been billed for it.
In your opinion, is that something we should try to get resolved before Heather leaves?
Well, I think I'm going to try to make a discreet inquiry and maybe not ask any questions that I don't want to know the answer to.
Fair enough. You're a wise man.
What else? So, I think the first thing on our agenda at the next meeting should be reorganization of the commission. I am not willing to be chair. Mary is not willing to be chair. I'm willing to be vice chair. I'm not willing to be chair. I'm frankly ground down. We're trying to keep the ship afloat, with everything that's gone on in the last 2 years. So, my hat's off to Mary for, making it through a year. I mean, this has been just brutal. So, please think about volunteering to be chair.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
And I appreciate your comments, but I think I'd be, amiss in not saying how much effort and time you've put into keeping the wheels on the cart, which I absolutely appreciate, and I know it's been very much a thankless job. I know, or at least it seems like the chairmanship role that you inherited and that I also inherited had a lot of responsibilities that are borne on the shoulders of the chair. There might be opportunities moving forward, I think, maybe to split some of that up across other members of the Conservation Commission, as long as we don't have bylaws that prohibit that. That might make it easier for other Conservation Commission members to pull some of the weight, to make it less of a burden on the chair. And also for other members of the commission to get more experience for some of those things that are happening behind the curtain.
And to be very frank, Mary, that's a wonderful thought, and I appreciate the thought, but really, and given the turnover in staff, you and I and other people have been doing things that should have been done by staff. And it's just for me personally, it's gotten really old, and I don't want to do it anymore. So, because it's like, to me, I'm not sure, getting the volunteers to do the work, is the answer. I don't know what the answer is, but I don't know if that is the correct answer, the best answer. But at any rate, are there any other comments or questions or anything else that we should take up tonight at 8:53?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second, Mike.
Roll call. Mary.
Aye.
Jenny.
Aye.
Jeff.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Aye for myself. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.